Hello, my friends. My name is Ryan Freeman, and you are watching episode 18 of my first backpacking trip to Europe. Almost done with this series. Hang on, guys. I can't wait to finish, but I don't want to leave anything unsaid. And so this is the chapter where my Uncle Bob and I leave Switzerland. We go on a hitchhiking trip. This is my first time to put out the thumb to catch a ride, but he is a veteran of many, many decades across many different continents. So he is my Obi-Wan Kenobi. I am Luke Skywalker. And we go to the edge of Vekas and we stick out our thumbs, both with our huge backpacks on our backs. I'm 21, clean shaven, innocent looking American kid, although if you've been watching the previous episodes, you know I'm not that innocent at this point. My Uncle Bob, 56 at the time, wild beard, wild curly hair, with a very intriguing visage. Anyways, we start catching rides, little rides, not very long rides, and it takes us most of the day just to get to a truck stop in Switzerland where we sleep on the grass. The next day, we try to get some of those truckers to give us a long ride, but unfortunately, they were not interested in these two American vagabonds getting a free ride on their trucks. By the way, did I mention where we were going? We were going to Prague in the Czech Republic. That was our destination. My Uncle Bob had said Eastern European girls are so much more interesting, Ryan. Let's go east. How about Prague? And I said, sure. He's Obi-Wan Kenobi after all. I'm following his lead. And everything sounds like an adventure. Doesn't really matter where we go. At this point, Uncle Bob is, I talked about some of the problems that we had especially when Paul was staying with me at my Uncle Bob's. But by this point, I am actually kind of happy Paul's not here, because now I have bonded with my uncle to a degree that I've never found someone in my life that I've had this much fun with. Every moment is a possibility for laughter or magic. We were a dynamic duo, but our first day, just getting to that truck stop with a few small rides, was less than an impressive start. The next day, though, we do end up finding our way to the edge of the Bodensee, that is also known as Lake Constance, a large lake separating Switzerland from Germany. And there's no more roads across the lake. I mean, we could have skirted around the lake, but we saw this big, beautiful ferry that was about to take people across. And so we jumped on the ferry. But as we had agreed that we were not going to be spending any money for transportation nor hotels, we didn't buy a ticket. So now we're on this ferry as stowaways. And the ticket conductor is, I think it's a conductor on a boat. I'm not exactly sure. The ticket guy is walking around and he's checking for tickets. And I'm on the lookout and I see him coming. And so I yell to my Uncle Bob, the ticket guy's coming, in kind of a Soto voice, kind of a high whisper. The ticket guy's coming. And my Uncle Bob runs the other way and I follow him. Then we see the ticket guy coming that way and then we run the other way. So it was a gorgeous lake crossing going from Switzerland to Germany. Very exciting to go to a new country. Very exciting to be on a ferry on the Bodensee, Lake Constance, but also exciting to really truly be vagabonds, and stowaways. That was a fun experience. Don't recommend you do it. I don't do it now. Now I buy my tickets, but at the time, it was part of the spirit of our adventure. Enter into Germany. There, although Switzerland is not part of the EU, and Germany still is, they didn't have anyone at the border crossing, so no passport control, no immigration. So we walked right through, grabbed some beers. I remember the first cafe having beers. I remember the beautiful Bavarian draft beer. Bavaria, the south of Germany, that is famous for beer. Now I'm face to face with it, and I see that it's not just me who is attracted to the beer, but the bees. There were just hundreds or thousands of bees swarming over people's beers, and people had to put a saucer on top of their glass so that the bees couldn't attack it. Well, all good things do have their competition. Whatever, bad joke. Anyways, but that's true. And had some beer and continued our hitchhiking quest, trying to get as far northeast as we could. And unfortunately, we sort of didn't have much luck getting rides. Little 2-mile rides, little 1-mile rides. That's about it. No one really going the distance. No one going the distance stopping for us. Eventually, we reach the end of a town, and we wait for an hour and a half, and no one stops for us. So we made the decision, well, let's just walk in that direction. Maybe we'll find a better place to pick up rides down the road. Let's go. So we start walking. Well, pretty soon we're walking on a freeway. I think it's the Autobahn. And no one is stopping for us on the Autobahn. We're just like a massive freeway where there's no shot. I mean, you have to go down an off-ramp to get into civilization. We're just walking on the Autobahn. I find a stuffed animal, put him on my backpack. He's getting a free ride with me, and I'm striding, and Bob calls me long strider, some German word for a person who has a really long stride. I'm feeling fantastic. One of the things that I always embraced about backpacking was I liked the physical exertion, even with a heavy backpack. I felt like I was getting stronger, that I was getting fit. And in fact, this is probably the time where I'm in the best shape of my life. We walked for about 25 kilometers that day, having little stops, picking up elephant beer, a very strong beer that we found at a little truck gas station as we exited the Autobahn. Also stopped and bathed in a river at one point, very cold river. That was kind of cool. But eventually, and I was feeling great. I sort of embraced the harshness of this backpacking trip, going through a lot of disappointments along the way that I mentioned in previous episodes, but always feeling confident in something inside me that I would carry through no matter what. But my Uncle Bob was a little older, but even at 56, and as a vegetarian without the power of animal protein, no offense to anyone who is a vegetarian, I could see his face was less happy than mine. As fate would have it, just when I don't know how much further we could have gone on, a car. Oh, by the way, we also made stops to pick fruit from the fields. We would get off the off-ramp where there was just nothing but farms, like plum farms, and grab a bunch of plums, steal a bunch of plums. I know it's stealing. You're not supposed to do it, but I was remembering like a biblical passage that there was a special law that if a traveler was walking through fields, he was allowed to pick it. Now, that was only for the tribes of Israel, and I was not a member of Germany, but it didn't feel so bad taking a few plums from thousands and thousands of plum trees. And spirit of the adventure, following Obi-Wan Kenobi, what can I say? So anyways, just as we're basically at the point of exhaustion, a car drives from some fields, pulls up right next to the Autobahn, and this guy yells, from down below, from a little side dirt road, he yells something in German. I can't understand him. My Uncle Bob talks to him. At first we're worried he might be a farmer who saw us picking fruit, but he tells us that it's illegal to walk on the Autobahn, and not only that, but if we keep going, we're going to soon arrive at a very, very long, dark tunnel, which will be impassable by foot. So we're like, holy shit, and there's no way we're going to hitch any rides right here. So, cars are flying by, but they're not stopping. So he says, this old German guy who pulled up his car on the side road yelling to us, he says, come with him. So we take the leap of faith, because what else could we do? We weren't going to risk getting arrested by the police or, you know, something worse. So we exit and get in this old bachelor's car. He's probably in his late 60s. Single man, takes us to his apartment where he lives alone, dumps a whole can of Pringles right into a bowl, says, have at it, guys. Allows us to take turns taking a shower. Having a hot shower is so nice, especially when you're so dirty and grubby. And then he drives us into the next big city, not that big of a city, but bigger than these little towns we were going through, called Lindau. Lindau is a gorgeous small city right on the lake. And this was where I first opened my eyes just to how beautiful German living can be. My Uncle Bob had always said, Ryan, if you like Switzerland, which was true, I loved Switzerland. I thought Switzerland was like a fairy tale. But he said, Germany's like Switzerland, but with more color. And I could see it. Lindau was very nice. We had a nice dinner, my first German dinner at a restaurant, a little outdoor cafe, drinking beer, eating some breaded pork, I believe. Some potatoes. Food cost was cheaper in Germany than it was in Switzerland. I should mention also that, you know, along the way, we're stopping for little coffees and German brown bread. My Uncle Bob was crazy about German bread. And this guy beads us Auf Wiedersehen. And there we are in Lindau. This guy saved us from this tunnel or possibly getting arrested and got us to a nice, safe city, beautiful city. So we find the park in Lindau, and we, just right before the sun sets, we lay out our sleeping mats. I borrowed, I think, my Aunt Rose's sleeping mat. She wasn't using it. I didn't bring one to Europe. And we lay out on this tall grass, looking at the stars, not with our tents. Because you never know when you might have to run from thugs or police when you're illegal camping in a German park. But we had no problems. And so this is for anyone who's interested in camping illegally. I think it's called black camping, stealth camping. You know, you really don't want to set up camp too conspicuously. You definitely want to find places that aren't being traveled often. You want to find bushes to obscure your view, and because it can go bad. And in fact, in the next episode, I'm going to tell you an example that went bad for me. Anyways, Bob and I get some sleep, wake up the next morning, grab coffee, grab some German brown bread, and Bob makes a big sign, München, Munich, that's the next big city, on our way to Prague, Czech Republic, to check out those amazing Czech girls that my Uncle Bob had told me so much about. Although we've had some slow going and some obstacles, we've gotten through it. We're still together. We've got our money and our passports. We've got our spirits up. Our friendship is keeping us warm. Well, also it was a hot summer. But with that sign, almost right away on the outskirts of Lindau, a massive BMW, the biggest BMW I've ever seen, pulls up, black, window rolls down, large, deep voice says, "Get in, fellas." Me and Uncle Bob jump in, Bob in the front seat, me in the back seat, nice leather upholstered, air-conditioned comfort, and we have a ride. This guy's going all the way from Lindau all the way to Munich, one long ride. This is the first really big break we've had in terms of distance for this hitchhiking trip. And it's a very interesting character. His name is Helmut Franz, and he's an opera singer. And he will continue into the next episode. I'm going to leave it there, a little bit of a cliffhanger. What's going to happen with Helmut Franz? Will we get to Munich safely? And what will happen if we do? Anyways, thank you for watching this episode. Only a few more left. My name's Ryan. Bye.